Is the Harbor Mist restaurant in Cold Spring Harbor haunted? That's the question that some paranormal investigators tried to answer.
Today we're in Harbor Mist in Cold Spring Harbor. It's a wonderful restaurant. And this was actually the first story I ever wrote about in a column that I had back in 1995. And it's changed hands several times, so it was under other names. So at that point it was the Old Whaler, it was known as. And then it had several names after that. But there's a great history to this because Cold Spring Harbor is a seafaring town. And back in the 1800s, they would have the whaling ships come into port right outside the restaurant here. And sometimes the men that lived in Cold Spring Harbor, these sea captains, they would be gone for months to sometimes years. And the wives would become very lonely because they would be watching the house and they'd start running out of money. So at that point, they started coming here to work because this place was a brothel, believe it or not. And we have some interesting photos that I can show you of when it was a brothel. And the women are pictured outside. There was an upper deck at one point, and they're pictured with their skirts hanging over, sort of, you know, showing themselves off. And the men would come back from, you know, different trips, and they'd come here for a drink and use the brothel. So it's sort of a funny legend in Cold Spring Harbor, which has the, you know, the whole sense of being very proper in the town and everything. And to think that this went on, not only in this building, but down on Main Street too. It was very popular at that time. So it is kind of funny. They've had seances, they've had a lot of psychics come in over the years. They've had people who are sensitive come in not knowing anything about the background of the place, and then all of a sudden they say something's here. So it's been confirmed by a lot of people. And people have seen shadows running across the upstairs. That's called a shadow person, when you don't see an apparition full on, you just see something fleeting by out of the corner of your eye that's similar to a shadow. People have experienced that. Before they had built the cathedral ceilings upstairs, and it was just 2 levels. It was very haunted in certain areas where the brothel was, where the different small rooms were. And there have been things, you know, pots and pans were known to move around when it was an attic and that kind of thing. So there's tons of stories from all of the owners and the people who have worked here throughout the years.
The restaurant's owner says he's noticed some strange things going on there.
We closed the restaurant and I shut the lights. Not that I tell Javier, did you shut? I shut the light. I know I did. I left from the kitchen back door. I went out, got in the car. I wanted to go check the restaurant in Huntington. As I made it right turn in the street, I saw the lights are on. So I made a U-turn. I come through the back again. I don't have the front key. From the kitchen, I came down. I ran downstairs to shut the light off. But I got a little shiver, and then I just ran out, and then I didn't even go back anymore, and I just went home. Another day, I locked the door again myself with the bartender behind the bar. I took the key from in the register. I locked the front door. I give her the key. I said, let's go. She comes out of the bar. She goes, you locked the front door? I said, I did front off the door. She opened the door. She goes, no, it's not locked. I said, I locked it. I locked it. No, it wasn't. It was unlocked again. Yeah. Like weird.
So have you ever heard or seen anything unusual? Like
just the picture frames that fall from the bar. One night we were talking about it. There are 3 frames on the wall, and we talk about the ghost. And then suddenly one of them fell down and it cracked. And the other people, they were amazed, like, what happened?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I've spoken
it's
to
like that you get, you know, shake. Yeah, there is something. Definitely, there is something here. Yeah, but what I don't know, but there is something.
Author Kerriann Flanagan Brosky and paranormal investigator Joe Giaquinto, the creators of the Ghosts of Long Island book series, teamed up with Medium Richard Schoeller.
I'm thrilled to be working with Kerriann and Joe. I've been in their company more than once and have worked with them a couple of times. And they're both wonderful people. There's no question about that.
Joe Giaquinto is also a medium, and he says he picked up a presence immediately upon entering the building.
Well, I went to the restroom, and I was in the room there, in the, I guess what the women would call the powder room, but I wasn't in the powder room. And I noticed my shadow on the wall as I was standing in the room there in the bathroom. And then I felt a female presence behind me to my right. The air got a little bit cold, and I suddenly saw another figure's shadow standing over mine. So as my shadow was here, and then another shadow as if somebody taller came up behind me and stood over me. And that shadow was just slightly to the right. Now I'm feeling a chill as we speak right now. She's probably here again. I feel she's a presence from this building. She may have been from when it was a brothel. She's a very strong presence. Some of the people at work here also sense the presence of spirits. So I think today's adventure, we're going to do a little walk around. We'll probably pick up some things. I'm definitely going to have my EVP recorder and my spirit photography camera ready to go.
Now, she gave you a name, right?
Yeah, she gave me the name Susie. And I believe it was, she spells it S-U-S-I-E. Could be a Z, but I think it was S-U-S-I-E is what I got.
The woman that I'm seeing in this moment is a woman that's not from our current century, the 1900s. I have to go back to the 1800s. And yet her style of dress is simple. It's not when we think of Victorian dress, it's not that style with ruffles and lace. In fact, I want to say, I was going to use the word simple or hardworking, but peasant.
That makes sense.
And the cloth of the dress that I'm feeling with her, is not rich. In fact, it's quite.
She wasn't coarse.
Now, I know the area is a whaling community. I know that from history, in fact, she feels like one of the women from the community. But I am hearing the name Sally. Sally is what I'm hearing. Okay.
What I heard was something with Susie.
Okay. Okay. Similar in the sounding. Thank you. She's laughing. I'm just going to ask because the feeling that she gave me before, and she's still giving me, is the feeling of the fireplace. Obviously, we're by the fireplace. I know that. She's giving me the feeling that this front is not the way it was when she was here. And she's giving me the feeling of the doorway being right here. So I'm getting a sense of a doorway here. I'm also getting the feeling from her that this room was narrower. It wasn't as large as it is now. And I have more of an oblong, a rectangular shape with her. She's laughing. The men were met here. I don't know what was going on here yet, but the men were met here. Now she's also, there was a not that staircase. There was a staircase in this room on the left-hand side. So just past the fireplace, we've got a staircase that goes up. She's laughing. She's telling me that up on top of the staircase there was a landing. And she's giving me the feeling of the girls' rooms, okay? So I've got to go upstairs to the second floor because that's where the rooms would be, okay? She's laughing.
Right now, I'm getting a sense that there's someone on the left of me.
Mm-hmm. That's a second woman. Not the one I'm with, there's another woman. And there's a gentleman standing next to her, by the way, so there are 3 people right now. Now, why was this also a hospital? Are you aware that this was used in some form for a hospital or for people who were not well?
No, that would be correct.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to tell you too much.
Don't tell me anything. I still get the feeling that there was illness, and I get the feeling that somebody died in this house.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like somebody died, and I feel like I've got a hospital feeling with them. I've got a sick bed.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Where are you going with it? Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you want me to?
No, I'm just going to say that I'm feeling that, and I'm not hearing it from her. So I just want to acknowledge a separate sense. She's laughing. She's saying that's not her. So that was after their experience.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody else died in this place
That's correct.
later, more closer to our time.
Yes.
Got it. And they died from illness. This was not a short-term thing. This was a long. No, she's saying it was short and sudden,
Yeah.
but they were sick. Okay, got it. She's laughing. She's telling me I'm getting 2 different time frames.
Mm-hmm. That would be right.
She wants me to go upstairs, so we're going to go upstairs.
There was, in fact, a staircase behind this, and people have actually seen figures on the staircase. I have an email in front of me that was sent to me last April of 2010, And the woman claimed to have seen the image of a man from the torso up in a hat that was not 1800s. It may have been like 1940s. But there definitely was a staircase, and people would have cold spots and the sense of something that was going on. And also the shape of the bar was also different. Before we go upstairs, I want you to come around this area.
All right, I got someone else with me again. So,
Okay, who's this?
laughter. So where we're about to go, the death that occurred was male?
You want me to answer?
I've got a man with me, so I shouldn't make the assumption. I've got a man with me right now. I don't know, can you feel a gentleman standing with us?
Yeah,
And
well dressed.
I'm not aware of his dress, I'm aware of him dying suddenly. Hold on, 2 separate people. All right. This is confusing, because I've got the man who was at the bar, and then I have somebody who died suddenly. So I'm going to ask Barman, I know you've only been here for 8 months. Do you mind if I ask you a quick question? Do you know of a gentleman who would have been in the community? Have you only been here 8 months, or did you used to come here at all?
No.
Do either of you, did you used to work here before Barman, or come?
I mean, I know
You know the stories?
this could be.
All right, because I've got a guy that would have been local to this area.
But not from this time period.
No, from this time period.
From this time
Who would have been a fisherman,
Oh.
who would have gone out boating, who would have sat at the bar, who would have had scotch and water, who would have died recently. When I say recently, I'm talking 1890s, 1880s. And the feeling I have with him is that this was one of his favorite, no pun intended, haunts. And the feeling I have with him, I'm seeing a man who's a short man, who's slender, who's got white hair, who's wearing a fisherman's winter hat. I'm seeing him in fisherman gear, and I'm feeling like he would have been a local to this area, and I'm feeling like he would have walked from home to this place.
And around what time period?
I'm talking 1980s. I'm talking 1980s in his dying experience.
That would have been, probably was the old whaler at that point. And
Is that what the name of this place was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was like a hangout.
Okay.
The men would come and hang out here.
Richard?
back
Yeah.
in that time.
I'm the guy I'm feeling. I'm going to defer to your direction here.
Yeah.
But I just wanted, the one I'm feeling was a different man. Dark suit, like a sport jacket, like a blazer. He would come here, and I'm feeling heat right here in my lower, right over here. I think he's showing me something.
That goes to his death.
Somebody that would put on,
So something.
Like what we're wearing.
yeah, something like this, but just so
Because the
he's.
description that
But
I
he was
have
kind
here
of a
is
disheveled
different.
guy, actually. He was a disheveled guy.
Uh-huh.
So it was a crumpled suit. He's
Okay.
somebody that would hang out here, but he always dressed the same way. That's it. That's all I want to say.
Okay,
He just
sure.
wants us to know- wants us to know that he's here.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But come in this way.
Okay. I don't want to go in there.
Yeah, that's the.
I don't want to go in there.
She likes to peek in on the guys.
I don't know what happened in there, but it actually feels brutal to me. And whatever the brutality was, it wasn't deserved. Okay? I don't know why I'm saying that way, but that's the feeling. Because I literally feel like I'm going to throw up just standing here.
There's been a lot of psychics, not mediums, more psychics that don't want to go in this area.
Yeah.
This is, you want me to tell you what it is now?
Before you do, you want me to give you a little more information? Just giving it a shot.
Because again, there's a couple of things that have happened in here.
All right.
In this whole place, but
Well,
I'll pinpoint this area.
again, one side of me goes to a masculine vibration, and one side goes to a feminine vibration. Now, this is hard. See, I keep getting 2 separate feelings. One feels like a murder to me. I have to be honest. I feel like it was a sudden death or murder. And then the other one just feels like, was it an assault? I wasn't getting that. I wasn't getting that feeling. The piece that I'm feeling is more the unfortunately, someone's untimely death or murder. All right? Now, I'm curious because at the same time, I literally feel like my breath is being taken away. And I don't know if the murder was...
But also you're going to your throat.
Right,
Right.
without question. Because I
Okay.
literally feel the energy that I'm
Tightness.
with here. And when I feel this, I literally feel like I'm being pinned against the wall with this. Now, next thing is this person fell, because it's funny, I feel this, and then the next thing I feel is like I'm going to fall over.
Well,
Yeah.
you,
I
do you
picked that
remember
up
the story?
about 2 minutes ago, somebody hitting their head, falling and hitting their...
Okay.
And you don't remember the story?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And then with it, there was more than one person involved in this experience. This was not a solo experience. Somebody took somebody's life? That's a question.
Because you really have it right on.
Okay, tell me that, or
Okay.
validate what is
All right,
true.
at one point, this hallway was not here. There were 2 bathrooms set up here, different from the way it's set up now.
Okay.
And in the 1960s, as the story goes, a woman was dining here, and she went into the bathroom. She slipped and fell,
Okay.
and cut her throat on the ragged edge of a soap dish. Now, to me,
Ugh.
it always sounded odd
That's
that
the-
she would die like that.
that's the
To me, it
story.
was suicide. But now, the hospital thing that you're getting, the ambulance came here and was working on her in here, apparently. But, I mean, I have an old newspaper article here.
I don't
but
think this was suicide.
No.
It's an odd story.
No.
I'll read you the exact passage
Okay.
from the newspaper.
Murder.
Yeah,
Was the...
yeah, somebody
They
took
just
her life.
told me the story
Yeah,
about a week ago.
in
The next
1960, this
was
is
90.
from 1982, Long Island, or 1982. In 1960, a woman had an argument with her husband while dining at the restaurant. She got up and went to the ladies' room, where she slipped and fell, cut her throat on the ragged edge of a ceramic soap dish. She died before the ambulance arrived. Many people believe that the woman's spirit remained at the inn.
Mhm.
So that was one portion of this. But I always thought it was a strange story. I
Yeah.
mean, why was the soap dish ragged?
Ragged.
How could she fall and it
Yeah.
just happened to cut? But there's something with the throat.
I literally felt myself pinned here up against the
I'm
wall.
feeling it again, right here.
And I feel it at my throat.
And other psychics have not wanted to go into this area, from what
Mhm.
I've been told.
Understood.
Do you think that's the lady that shadow came up to me inside before?
Mm-hmm.
She was very anxious to let me know she was there.
Yeah. So she hasn't left, sorry, but she hasn't left this place.
Right. That's apparently true. They have had a lot of people throughout the 80s and up come in to try to get her to move on, but
This is wild. Yeah.
Something else happened here.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
'cause
say this.
I wish I understood the story.
Go ahead.
Because
Well-
I don't believe, because this is totally different than it was at one point.
It's beautiful.
That's nice.
Okay. So there was a staircase that came up that side, but there was also a staircase that came up this way. So there were 2 staircases. That's not the original staircase, and this was an added staircase.
Right.
This is, now, anyone who would know anything about architecture would realize that this is added just from the floor, right? I'm presuming. I feel like we've got a hallway here.
Yes.
I feel like we've got rooms on this side. I'm hearing laughter. I'm hearing a lot of laughter. And the building ended
Yes.
with a porch. Okay, now I saw the porch in the photograph. I won't deny that. Were there only 3 rooms up here that you know of? Because I'm only feeling 3 rooms.
3 or 4, yeah. They were small.
Okay, I'm only feeling 3. They didn't have a bathroom up here. I'm feeling like they had to use an outhouse. I'm actually hearing the girl saying that, forgive me, did they have to wash themselves outside?
They may have.
Because I'm hearing we washed ourselves outside.
They could be. Because again, you're talking 1800s, so.
They're laughing. For the sake of this, I want to be clear that it's clairsentient. That's what I'm feeling. I'm not seeing yet, and I'm hearing the laughter. May I speak to you for a second, Michelle? Do you mind? Is it all right with you? So you've been working here 8 months now, right? They're laughing. Forgive me. Is it okay to talk to you about you and your husband publicly? All right, barman, is it okay? Yeah. All right. I don't know what he does to make you crazy when the customers are not around, but the ladies are laughing. Forgive me. they're proud of you for standing up to him. And I mean no disrespect to you, barman, but when it comes to work, they're proud of you because you do stand up to him when you know something to be right. Now, they're telling me they're watching you when you're at the bar, but you're not always at the bar, you're also hosting. They like you.
So what you got was right. These are all the women who, I forget, did we discuss what they did? Did I
No,
tell you?
not
All right,
yet.
do you want me to tell you?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. These women were here for a reason. But you could see you had mentioned about the door being in a different place, or
Yes.
I think Joe mentioned that as well. So you could see this was the door. There is an extension where we were earlier doing the interview that was put on later, but this was the main part of the house. So you could see this was a fairly wide porch. And then back here were the rooms.
Now, I know this is a door, but was there in fact the staircase that came
This
up
was
the
the
side?
staircase that
This
came
was the
up
staircase,
this
okay.
area.
And I don't like the way I feel back here at all. My stomach gets tight, I feel like I want to throw up. I don't know, it's not malevolent. Again, I'm getting conflicting information. Forgive me, I'm closing my eyes because I'm trying to sense it. There's one part of me that feels like I've got a hospital again. I got to tell you, I feel like there was either operation or some sort of medical things that were being taken care of. Whether it was here or in this hallway, I can't tell you, but I feel it condensed in this area. I also feel like someone took their life here. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about it, but I don't want to put out a bad energy, but I feel like somebody did take their life here. I'm talking back earlier, not more recent. And I'm talking about one of the girls. So I don't know if that's documented in history, but I feel like one of the girls took their life. All right?
Separate from what you got from downstairs.
Separate from what I got downstairs.
There's only 3 known.
But I'm
that I know of.
talking about the picture that you showed me. I'm going back to the time when this place was
yeah, there
used by the
definitely
girls.
is, yeah.
And I'm going back to a point where one of them would have taken their life. It's bizarre because I feel like I'm married, but I feel like I'm not supposed to be. So I feel like one of the girls was in 2 relationships or more than one relationship at one time. Okay? And the feeling was, I feel like my husband found out. And my feeling is, I feel like I've hung myself.
Interesting.
And when I say that, I'm seeing a woman whose hair is in the blonde shade, and I'm seeing a woman whose hair would have been pinned up or pulled up. And I'm seeing a woman who, in this moment, is not a thin woman. I'm seeing, now thin is relative because in those days, women probably were much more, we're more skinny in these days, so I'm going to call her ample. And I keep hearing from her this feeling of, my husband, he found out, and I do feel her taking her life because of
And Joe,
that.
you had gotten strong feelings in this area when we investigated. Do you want me to tell you the story again?
If, I don't feel, I'll just, yes, and I don't feel it's malevolent. I want to be clear, I don't feel like it's a bad spirit, but I get this feeling of discomfort when I'm in this area.
Yeah, well, there's a lot that went on here, so I will tell you now that this
Okay.
was an extremely active brothel. So everything you describe is quite accurate. It wasn't the only brothel in Cold Spring Harbor, and as I was saying earlier to Chris, Cold Spring Harbor is very, there's just a way about Cold Spring Harbor now, very proper and everything. But it was a wild town. That's why it was called Bedlam Street, because it was chaotic, and everyone spoke in different languages because the people would be coming in from, the fishing ventures and the whaling expeditions, and it was just chaos. And what happened here is that there were so many fishermen and captains in the town, they would go out on these expeditions. They would be gone anywhere from a couple of weeks, a couple of months, to a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Their wives were left behind. The wives had to find work because, again, they were married to captains. They didn't have that much money. So what happened here is that this was an inn, and it was a bar, and the women would come here and they would sell themselves. And that's what happened. The picture that I showed you, those were the women advertising
Working.
their wares.
Okay.
So what had happened, though, on one occasion up here, as you described it, these were all small rooms, and there was the staircase coming up and down. Very small rooms. This one woman, her husband had been gone for months. She was working here. He came back. She had no idea, no cell phones, nothing.
Right.
And he sat down and he had a
Validation.
so the man was downstairs having a drink at the bar. He had just come in to port. He was gone for quite some time. And the person who was behind the bar said, "Oh, I don't know if you want to know this or not, but your wife is upstairs. She works here." He went berserk. He came running up the staircase. He caught his wife in the act, and he killed her, and he killed the man. Now, it's interesting that you picked up the fact that you think someone hung themselves. Records could get lost over the years. It did happen in the 1800s. Maybe it's possible that he only killed the man and that she ultimately hung herself. I have not heard that story. It is possible. I heard that he killed both. The guy's name was Van Weather, and I don't know what the woman's name is.
Okay.
But he did kill the two of them upstairs here. And it was when it was the old whaler. This was used for storage up here, and there was a room at the end of the hall where the staircase is now, where pots and pans and things were kept. And the previous owner sometimes would come up here, and it was a very uncomfortable feeling in that room. So I don't know if there was something that happened along the staircase here, and then the murders probably took place in the room that no longer exists. And she had experienced the feeling of someone choking her. This was back in the late, well actually it had to have been around 1990. She had told me this. It happened to her in the 80s, 1980s. And she felt suffocated. And again, with the whole thing with the throat, that she didn't like to stay up here because there was a couch and stuff up there, but it was mainly supplies kept up here, but she had a headache and she laid down. She couldn't wait to get out of here because she felt like someone was choking her, suffocating. A lot of the employees said that they saw things flying around, like pots and pans crashing down in that room all the time, like that there was something angry in there. And they have had, back in the 80s, they had psychics come in and try to do seances to move these three spirits, and for whatever reason, there hasn't been any success.
Right.
But that's what they say, that there's three. The one from the 1960s with the strange story, and then the woman who worked here, and then Van Weather. But possibly, as you picked up the guy at the bar, could have been the husband just coming back in spirit form.
Yeah, interesting. I really believe that somebody hung themselves here. I don't know if it was the same woman, but I do know it was a woman whose husband found out, because I keep seeing a woman, unfortunately, hung by her neck. So.
Interesting. Okay.
For more information, you can check out ghostsoflongisland.com. In Cold Spring Harbor, Chris Collora reporting.